Shabbat Shalom. I want us to look closely this morning at two big parts of our Torah portion. The first is with Yitro and Moses. Moses, as we've heard, is tiring himself out being judge of all Israelite conflicts. Just imagine the line. Every morning, Moses is sitting, and thousands of Israelites are lined up waiting for Moses to deal with their sometimes large, but probably mostly small conflicts. And the relationship at this point between Moses and the Israelites is one directional. But Yitro, Moses' father-in-law, sees the layers of what is possible, the layers of struggle that Moses is experiencing. Exhaustion, depletion. But perhaps most of all, what Moses is experiencing is a fear of letting go of control. Yitro addresses Moses by saying, I see you. I see what you're carrying. I see you are wearing out. And I see what you need to do. You need to share the responsibility. Create layers of a court system. Use wise folks you trust and share the burden, share the responsibility, and let go of some of the control. It's easy for Yitro to see the problem that Moses was struggling with, the control and therefore burdening and tiring himself out. But that's story number one. Story number two is about God. God gives the people the commandments. But why? Why is God like Moses? It's not as straightforward because God doesn't get tired out. God doesn't have burnout. If you are all powerful, you don't get weary from continuing to do and do and do. But like Moses, God also struggles with control. God gave human beings free will. But that doesn't always go as God wanted. Think about Noah and the flood, a story we know where human beings are not acting as God had hoped. So what does God do? Just wipes them out. With little opportunity for tshuva, for repentance, and for changing their fate. And Sodom and Gomorrah, again, the people are not using their free will in the way that God had wanted. So God just destroys the cities. And even these past few weeks, we've watched God harden Pharaoh's heart and send plague after plague, ultimately destroying the Egyptians, not only their lives, but their infrastructures. God can't deal with people not meeting God's expectations of the free will we've been given. So again and again, God just wipes the people out, thinking when the privilege of free will is not respected, God just goes ahead and responds rashly with anger, and God loses control. So how is God like Moses? God gave some of the control to the people. By giving us the 10 Commandments, God is sharing the responsibility in this relationship and democratizing our system. God's changing the relationship. What God is doing is called tzimtzum, stepping back to create room for the people. letting go of being in complete power, letting go of being the ultimate master at all times, holding back the way that God can use God's power. God's changing the way of relating and becoming more of a teacher, setting clear expectations, laying out a covenant. The commandments are saying to us, be my partner, fulfill the mitzvot, and be in relationship with me, a relationship of shared responsibility. So what is God really doing? What is God saying to us by giving us the commandments? Being in a relationship can actually take more energy. Stepping back can be harder than staying in total control. A lot of times, I might face a situation and I say, it's easier if I just do it myself. If I just go ahead and take care of this, that's actually gonna take me less time and I can just handle it. But if we do that, then we're not really being parents. We're not being teachers. We're not being coworkers. And yes, it's hard. It's more time consuming to sometimes let someone else take a little bit of responsibility. And it's challenging to give away independence and shared work. But God is teaching us a lesson in effective leadership. Because when a leader takes a step back, it allows for the people to step up. If the leader keeps absolute control, the people never learn how to take any responsibility for themselves. When we receive the commandments, we're saying, we accept this gift, and we're going to show our commitment. And we accept the covenant by being in a real relationship where both parties have a role, and therefore, both parties have a stake. They have a stake in the relationship now, and they have a stake in the outcome of the future. God is showing us that if you really want to succeed, you cannot keep it all to yourself. You have to share it, and you have to transmit the responsibility onto others. Only then God is finally able to say, Nitzchuni banai, my children, the Israelites, have not just surpassed me, but they have eternalized me. Shabbat shalom.